Are you looking at your garden and ready to get out there and prune, but you're not sure how to do it? Well, welcome to my channel. I'm a Central Texas gardener in Zone 8B, and in today's video, I'm so excited to share how I prune my Texas native and well-adapted plants in my garden. Make sure you stay all the way through the end because I'll be sharing a product in here that'll be featured in a giveaway. Hope you guys enjoy the video. So in this video, I do want to make a distinction between herbaceous perennials and woody perennials. And that's an important distinction because depending on which plant you have, it'll change how you prune it. Now, a perennial can be an evergreen or it can go dormant in the winter. And so with herbaceous perennials, these are plants that typically have thinner stems. The stems are usually green, and the stems usually die all the way down to the ground in wintertime. And because of that, you're going to probably prune most of these plants all the way down to the ground in winter. So the first herbaceous perennial that I want to talk about is zexmenia, and that's what I've got right here next to me. And this is a beautiful Texas native, has a lovely mounding habit, often reaching about 3 to 4 feet in width and maybe about 2 feet in height. Very long bloom season from spring all the way to those first hard freezes in the wintertime. But I leave it because those flowers turn into seed heads, and those seed heads are a great food source for finches and other small birds through the wintertime. Now, because these are herbaceous perennials and those stems are so thin, they're really easy to break. So sometimes you can just go in there and just break them by hand. Sometimes you can use a hand pruner. Or you can use a hedge trimmer if you've got a wide swath of it and you just want to kind of attack a large group at one time. But I'm going to trim this all the way down to the ground. So this plant right here is Gregg's mistflower, and this is another wonderful Texas native that gets about 2 to 4 feet in height and has a very long bloom time from spring all the way to those first heavy freezes that we get in winter. Now, what this plant is known for is that queen butterflies absolutely love it. And as a matter of fact, it's very important in their reproductive cycle. And so the thing I will say about this plant is that it spreads by rhizomes, meaning that it sends shoots underneath the ground to kind of help it extend its reach. And what does that mean for you is that usually one Gregg's mistflower plant in a garden bed is enough. And so usually within a growing season or two, it'll fill in a space very quickly. So just something to keep in mind. Now, because this is an herbaceous perennial, I'm going to cut it all the way down to the ground. So this next plant is mealy cup sage or mealy blue sage. And the botanical name for this is Salvia farinaceae. And I have a lot of this in my garden because it is such a reliable performer. These get about 3 to 4 feet in height and spread, and they are such vigorous growers. I often have to prune them about 3 times in a growing season. Now here you can see it's got a lot of new growth at the base, and I'm just going to go in with my battery-operated pruners and trim all of those dead stems right along that new growth. So this next plant here is Mexican mint marigold. And this is a well-adapted plant for our area, reaching about 3 by 3 feet in height and spread. It is an herbaceous perennial, so you can see most of these stems have died all the way down to the ground. I'm not seeing any new growth along those stems. This plant is primarily a late summer to fall bloomer, and you can use the leaves of it in your cooking, and apparently they have the flavor of tarragon. But I love this plant so much because it just smells so good when you walk past it, kind of like licorice. So why does pruning a plant create a denser plant? Well, when you look at the stem of the plant, most of the growth occurs at the very tip of that stem. We call that the apex, and we call that apical dominance. And at that apex of the stem, there is a hormone or plant hormone called auxin that allows for that apex to continue to grow while sort of suppressing the lateral bud growth further down the stem. And so you get a longer stem, but not a bushy stem. So when we cut that apex off, we then essentially decrease the auxin in that stem, which then allows for that lateral bud development, creating a bushier plant for you. So I'm going to talk about a couple of ornamental grasses that I have in my garden. And ornamental grasses are herbaceous perennials, and the two that I have in my garden do go dormant over the winter. And this one here is muhly grass, or also known as pink muhly. It is a Texas native, gets about 3 by 3 feet in height and spread. It has a beautiful pink to purple inflorescence in the fall. It looks like a giant pink cloud. It's really pretty. But right now it looks like a giant haystack. So I am going to shear this not to the ground because that's pretty tough, but as close to the ground as I can get it. And I'm going to go ahead and use those power shears that were sent to me. And I've already used these with a few other grasses or a few other areas. And I really like how these work, because I had been using hand shears, and it's like you could just feel the carpal tunnel setting in after all of that cutting. So all of this bunch grass behind me here, this is Mexican feathergrass, and this is a well-adapted plant for our area, very drought tolerant, gets about 2 feet in height, and a very aggressive spreader, so just something to keep in mind. This is a grass you don't necessarily need to cut down. You can just rake your fingers through it and get rid of all the dead stems. But I just kind of like the look of a more compact and tight bunch. And so I'm going to go ahead and just shear all those down to just above the ground. Now, I know I said that those power shears were really good for cutting ornamental grasses, but then I decided just to try these hedge trimmers on the ornamental grass, and I want to show you that it's even better. Yeah. Is that not amazing? So woody perennials often have thicker stems, sometimes even bark covered, and these stems typically don't die back all the way to the ground. And for that reason, you're going to usually leave a significant amount of that stem behind when you're pruning. One of my favorite Texas natives that happens to be a woody perennial is autumn sage, and I have so much of this in my garden because it's such a top performer for me. Now, autumn sage is a flowering shrub that gets about 3 by 3 feet in height and spread, and it tends to be evergreen, though it can die back or go dormant in harder winters. As a matter of fact, this freeze that we just had in January of 2026, most of my autumn sage did go dormant. But a lot of times if we have a milder winter, it'll stay green for you. Now, like I said, I have so much autumn sage, and I've been hand pruning it. And it often takes a couple of prunings a year to really help it look its best. And so just looking at all of the pruning work I have coming up was kind of giving me tendonitis. And so I'm going to take this hedge trimmer that was sent to me to this huge drift of autumn sage. So this plant right here is flame acanthus, and flame acanthus is a Texas native woody perennial, and it has the traditional flame acanthus has red flowers. They're tubular shaped, and hummingbirds absolutely love that shape of flower. And there are orange colors, and there may be other colors out there that I'm just not aware of, but these plants tend to get about 4 or 5 feet in height, but they can really get quite a spread. And so I'm going to probably prune this to about 6 inches above the ground. This is rock rose, and rock rose is a Texas native woody perennial that gets about 3 to 4 feet in height and spread. It has beautiful pink flowers, and the flowers are prolific. It also reseeds itself prolifically, so you'll get lots of volunteers. This plant can remain evergreen in a milder winter. And if you're, when you're looking at it right now, you can see that it's still got a lot of foliage on it from last season, and it's got a lot of foliage along the entire stem even from this season. And so I'm not going to cut this all the way down to 6 inches. I'm actually going to just cut the plant down by about half. This is skeleton leaf goldeneye, and it is a Texas native woody perennial that gets about 3 to 4 feet in height and spread. It does flower, though primarily it flowers in the late summer and fall. And kind of like the rock rose, this has got a lot of retained foliage from last season, and it's already got new foliage from this season coming through. So I'm not going to cut it down to the 6-inch mark. I'm going to cut it again down by about half. I did want to share a few fun things going on in my garden here in February, one of which are the Texas bluebonnet patches that I have scattered throughout my landscape. And I did sow these in the fall, but some of them self-seeded, to include this little guy right here, and he's just kind of been hanging out even through the summer. And they're still in their rosette form, meaning they're pretty low to the ground. And they won't start putting on a lot of vertical growth now until a few weeks from now, and then about April or May, we'll start seeing some blooms. So I'm also excited about this small drift of blanket flower seedlings. I did sow these in the fall, and during our freeze, I did mound up a little bit of mulch over top of them, but it looks like they made it through. These will get pretty big, and they will flower continuously throughout the summer. And then the seed heads are really cool. They're like a little ball, and so even if you just let them go to seed, they're just really pretty. So all of this green you see here are little seedlings of a beautiful Texas native wildflower called standing cypress. And these are all in their rosette form, so they stay pretty low to the ground. Even through winter, they'll remain green for you, but they don't bloom to their second spring. Now, last spring, I did have a small stand of standing cypress here, and I absolutely loved it. They get pretty tall, about 5 to 6 feet. And as you can see here, that little stand reseeded itself pretty readily here. So something to keep in mind, but I think they're worth it. So I wouldn't mind at all if this whole area grew standing cypress. I think it's really pretty when they're in a large drift like that. So here I have a small drift of alliums, and these are the Schuberti alliums, and when they are fully blossomed, they almost look like fireworks. I did install these on Thanksgiving, and I don't have a ton of experience, but I was excited to see them come up. I think these are a bit tricky to grow in our Texas landscape, but I feel like as long as a plant's not invasive and you've got the time and the energy to put into it, sometimes it's just fun to have something different like this. So we'll see how these do. All right, another really fun thing going on is my Texas mountain laurel is just full of flower buds. And so I am so excited to see and smell this here in a few weeks. Hopefully we don't get a hard late season freeze and it takes them all out, but I'm excited about that. So in this segment of Garden Helpers, I want to talk about the star of this whole video, and that is my CC 3-in-1 hedge trimmer set. And it's really like a 4-in-1 because you do get 4 distinct tools in this set. You get a hedge trimmer, a pruner, a mini chainsaw, and shears. Each comes with its own protective cover. They also include an extra chain for the chainsaw and an extra blade for the pruners, which lets me know that maybe this is going to be durable enough for me to have to change those out. The chainsaw can handle branches up to 6 inches in diameter, and the pruners can cut up to about 1-inch branches. So that covers most of what I'm dealing with in my Texas garden. It comes with 2 rechargeable batteries with charge indicator, plus gloves, instructions, a lubricant bottle, and adjustment tools. It's very easy to use, and the battery life is super impressive. I used it on and off all day and barely saw the charge drop. Each attachment is pretty lightweight. I think the heaviest one was the hedge trimmers, and that was a little over 4 pounds. So you can use it one-handed if needed. My arm was definitely tired after a full day's work, but it was nothing like the hand strain that I typically get from using hand pruners and hand shears all day. So you really are getting about 3 different tools, each with their own base. But this hedge trimmer actually you can exchange this attachment for the shearer attachment, and it's a pretty easy exchange. I used this hedge trimmer. I have a few boxwoods, and it was easy to trim those up with this. I got through all of my autumn sage because I have so much of it, and like I said, I've got to cut that down a couple of times a year, so I got through all of that easy with this. And where I really also loved it was it just blew through my ornamental grass. So when you're having to cut that ornamental grass down at the beginning of the growing season, this was super easy. I did use this for ornamental grass as well, but it was a little bit slower. And so, but yeah, so this is probably the heaviest out of each one of the tools, but it wasn't terrible. So I had no idea something like battery operated pruners existed, but it's pretty nice. And so again, this is its own separate tool. You don't exchange this out or anything. You just put the battery at the base, and then you turn it on and you kind of give it a double tap to open it, And then it can cut up to 1 inch in diameter, and you can set different sizes here, but I just leave it at the biggest setting because it just makes sense to me. And so then you barely, and it cuts. Isn't that nice? And then when you're done, you can just hold it and it'll lock. And then you just take the battery out and it's all set. So this is the mini chainsaw. And like I said earlier, this can cut branches up to 6 inches in diameter. Now, this is the only tool in this set that I haven't had an opportunity to use yet, so I really couldn't give you a review on it, though I see myself using this here in the near future for maybe some tree trimming. So let me know in the comments which plant you're most nervous about pruning this growing season. And then if you're interested in winning the product you saw featured in this video, head on over to my Instagram page where I lay out all the giveaway details. I am so excited about the 2026 growing season. If you've got something fun and new planned for your garden, let me know in the comment section below. And until the next one, y'all take care.